festival director is sitting in the audience. So, okay. And did you like that?
Very much.
She hated them.
She hated them.
No, I promoted them.
Thank you.
Maybe let's start with Britni's film, Tired Moonlight, premiered at the Slamdance Festival and won the main award. Maybe we should start a little bit about talking about your backgrounds. You have been working as a set decorator on Kumiku, The Treasure Hunters, one of my favorite films ever, and also as and the assistant director at Bob Bindon's Seven Chinese Brothers, and Tired Moonlight is your first feature, is that right? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're doing hard. That will be a hard job for me if you only say yes or no.
Yeah, I work on a lot of films. I work on bigger things as in the art department, and I've worked as an AD. And I also work on a lot of small projects in New York City with a lot of my friends. So I do sort of all around work, I don't know, which I think is helpful in making my own film. I made it mostly by myself, so it helps to have a background in a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you are originally from Montana, which is a very important thing to mention because your film Tired Moonlight is also set in your hometown.
I really love all the people there, and I think a lot of people that make films about that type of place make them sort of sad or desperate, or everyone having this urge to get out and escape the place. And I never really felt. I mean, people want to get out of there, and I know kids from high school that I went to school with that wanted to leave really badly. But there are also a lot of people that really love it, including my family, and my sister and brother both still live there. And so it was nice to go back and be able to show it in a different way than like a sad and desperate community. I think there's a lot of life and liveliness and light to the film that I was happy to show that part of it as well.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly with non-actors, isn't it right?
It was good. I had a couple people come in with me from Minnesota that I had known in the past. None of them were actors, but I had known them longer, and then the rest of the people I cast just through having auditions in Montana. It was really fun. I just put up postings at all the bars and restaurants and anywhere I could think of in town, so I would get a lot of strange phone calls from people that wanted to be movie stars, and I would try to tell them that they weren't going to be movie stars, but it would be a lot of fun anyways. And like the 4-year-old kid in the movie, I don't think she even remembers being in a movie. And I keep sending her pictures like from here, or her on a giant screen, and she's so confused.
And there's one professional actor in your movie as well, Alex Karpowski. How did you find him, or do you know him personally, or?
Yeah, I worked on a few of his films, and we've been friends for a long time. And I worked on stuff that he's been in, so he was interested in helping out. I mean, he's really supportive. And he's in a lot of small movies, so he was happy to come out and be a part of it for a little while. But I met this Russian woman. I didn't want him to be in it just to have an actor in it.
Yeah.
So I kept telling him no, that I didn't think he was going to fit, and I didn't think it would work with all the non-actors in the movie. But then I ended up finding this Russian woman, and he speaks Russian, and it ended up being a good fit for him to play her son.
Joel, you're from Michigan?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Sad and desperate Michigan.
And your sad and desperate movie is also set in Michigan.
We made the opposite movie.
It's in Detroit that it's set. Why Detroit?
Like I said, it's about sadness and desperation. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We shot most of the film actually in Grand Rapids, and it's about someone he's not trying to escape his hometown because he is looking for better things. He's trying to escape his hometown because he is paranoid and afraid. He's someone that is always angry at this unseen, the man and the corporate world, and he gets into some trouble with cashing some checks that don't belong to him. So his fleeing to Detroit kind of captures what is going on in his head You know, Detroit is also, he sees as like the place that has been, you know, this economic depression is very severe, and he feels like that is a place that he would fit in Detroit, and he could easily hide out. So, yeah, Detroit is a real life kind of a wasteland, unfortunately.
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids is kind of nice, as the name implies. It's very grand and it has rapids in it. Of course, I mean, I think that, then I bring the movie over here and people are like, wow, you live there, actually? So yeah, it's just, I guess there's a lot of, you know, economic problems in Michigan, and that's just kind of works its way into my stories, subconsciously and consciously. Yeah, I've never been into making the happy stories about hope and things. More just like angry movies. So this is another angry movie. Yeah.
And another movie with Joshua, your main lead. How did you know him? I suppose you were friends or are friends from high school, is that right? Or how did you meet him?
Yeah, in college. My film too doesn't have any real professional so-called actors. They're people all kind of aspiring to be actors now. But Joshua was originally a musician in Grand Rapids. He was kind of like in the cool band in town and has a very distinct look. If anybody's seen Buzzard or Ape, you'll know he looks like an evil Buster Keaton. And he's just a very charismatic guy on stage, and I was just like, dude, I don't know if you can act, but you have something, and I just want to kind of bring that to a new audience. Oh, it turns out he could act. So he was in, Buzzard is like the last film in, you know the Animal trilogy. We shot Coyote, Ape, and then Buzzard all with him. Where he's like an angry guy in Michigan, and luckily we finished the trilogy on time because he's never been in any other movie but mine, but Alejandro Iñárritu snatched him up from me, so he was in Canada for 7 months with DiCaprio. So he went from a movie that was shot for tens of thousands of dollars to, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. So he is now a real actor. So I guess that's pretty cool for him. Not so cool for me because I can't afford him anymore. So yeah, it started off as non-professional actors, and he has become a professional actor. Yeah.
Trey, your first film is called KRISHA?
Yes.
Yes. And can you tell us a little bit about your backgrounds? You're from Austin, Texas, is that right? Or?
Sort of. I live right now in the house we shot the movie, in my mom's house, because I'm so broke, in good old Montgomery, Texas, that's like 2.5 hours from Austin.
Okay.
A little bit of background, when I was like 18 or 19, I got on a Terrence Malick film as a film loader, and I kind of traveled the world doing that. I went to like Iceland and filmed a volcano and the Big Island in Hawaii and Chile and Monterey and places. Then I came back home and dropped out of college because I was in school for business school. Yeah, then I became a weirdo and just stayed at my mom's house and like obsessed over movies. And I've been doing that for years now, and then making some bad short films while doing that.
One.
Well, and then I made okay, so that's another long story. So before I made this feature, KRISHA, I tried to make this same feature in the summer of 2012, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't really have the resources to make the movie I was trying to make, and it was the worst week of my life. I had a nervous breakdown, but we kept shooting, and then I took 2 years and edited all that footage into a short film, which we had success with, and then it was like I got a do-over, and I got the troops back together, and we made the movie again this last August, yeah, now we're here.
Pretty successful.
Indeed, it's been very cool.
And KRISHA, that's the name of the main lead in your film, is also your
It's also my aunt,
aunt.
and that's her name too.
And that's her name too.
Indeed.
I mean, it's a film about a very destructive family structure. I mean, was it weird for you to shoot a film about family with part of your family and family member?
No, I think it worked out perfectly because I'm so close with my family, and I think I kind of always envisioned that. And also, it was like I got a practice round at it with the short. So like, and then once everyone saw the short finished, and they were like, "Oh, we can actually make a movie." Then everyone went into the feature like really confident, I guess. But it was a blast.
But she's a non-actor as well.
She is, so yeah, so like KRISHA, my aunt, is the lead, and she's actually an actress, and she's a voice actor for stuff. My mom's, I guess, the second lead. She's just a therapist, a mental health therapist, but I think she's great in the movie. My grandma's in it, she didn't know we were making a movie. And my other aunt's in it, I'm in it, and then everyone else are friends that are also actors. And then I got two actors in Austin, Bill Wise and Chris Dubik, who are, I didn't know beforehand, but I like.
But was it any difference between working with professional actors like Bill Wise and then non-actors, which are even family members?
I would say not so much, just because my mom is an actress. She just hasn't done it, you know, like she's just naturally an actress. Now, however, with my grandma, she didn't know we were making a movie, so it's like everything we filmed with her was treated like a documentary. And there's a huge scene of the movie, my favorite scene, where they bring her in to meet the whole family, and she kind of drives the scene, but she doesn't know we're making a movie, so it's like, so I hid her in the office at the front of the house with my mom, and then I put my DP at the front of the house behind a bunch of boxes with a big zoom lens, and then we just rolled her in and introduced her to the whole family. And even though half the people aren't family members, she just goes with it, and she's like, "Oh, it's so great to see you." And we can like keep doing it. So like the take in the movie is the third take, because she'll just keep doing it. And then in that take, it was very serendipitous. She started talking about her mother and family lineage, and so the subtext in the movie and like the way it's framed is just perfect. And it's like all these elements came together, and it's all one long take. It doesn't cut. But yeah, so it would fluctuate between doing that and then doing like a choreographed long take where everyone has to hit their marks and stuff. And stuff, even though half of them aren't actors. I don't know. It just felt natural.
Okay. Shana, you are the producer of Seven Chinese Brothers. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Is it the first movie that you produced, or have you already produced?
Yeah. It's my first feature to produce. Totally. I was an associate producer on Bob's previous film, but that was really just involved after the film was already, I mean, I was involved in the whole process, but anyway, prior to that I've produced commercials, and so yeah, definitely my first feature. And I think, I'm thinking, while I'm listening to everyone, it's interesting, I don't know the intricacies of Joel's project or background, but like these are all so close to, is it shot in your home or with your family?
It's shot in our producer's basement.
There you go. It's interesting because we're all doing like a home base, home thing. We shot in my apartment. I had to live with my parents during production because we cleared out my home, and anyway, I don't really know why I said that, but that's my background. My background is I went to film school. I wasn't sure how to get involved, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but through a few years of trial and error and different jobs, it sort of became what was obviously the thing that I wanted to pursue.
Okay,
Producing.
but Seven Chinese Brothers was shot in Austin, or where
Yes.
was it shot? Okay.
Mhm.
And having talked about actors, I mean, you have one of the most famous indie actors in the film, Jason Schwartzman, which is here also with two other movies, Listen Up Philip and The Overnight. I mean, he's most famous for the Wes Anderson movie, and not, I would say, not haven't been seen in smaller indie films. So how did you convince him to be part of your film? And even I'm more curious about how did you convince him that the dog, also Jason Schwartzman's dog, is also the second main lead of the film?
Well, we're an independent film, so we have a lot of money. We met, the director is a very good writer also. He wrote the script, Bob Byington, and he met Jason Schwartzman through a friend, through Nick Offerman. we were doing a Q&A for the previous film in LA with Nick Offerman and met Jason Schwartzman, and I said I have this script, and then I helped follow up with that connection, going through the agent and all of that sort of thing. But I think that initial meeting and liking Bob and being interested in the kind of work he was doing was pretty important. Plus, shooting in Austin, Jason has thought about moving there before. Austin is a big draw for talent. I think people want to go there or are interested in the city, and so he was totally happy. He brought his whole family, which was at that time one daughter, and I think something like his wife and daughter went back to LA, and we wrapped, and 10 days later his second child was born, so it was really lucky that we wrapped on time. And thanks to our ID. And his dog, the part was originally written for a German Shepherd, a very vicious dog, and it became his very sleepy French Bulldog, very old, very sweet, and the dog was a favorite on set for sure. Everyone loved the dog, and I think kind of like with your grandmother, I guess, we learned, because it's not a trained dog, their relationship is incredible. We couldn't get him to do what we wanted on command, but we sort of learned to just start following the dog, and we have so much footage of the dog, but it's great.
That was because Bob also loved the dog. He was infatuated with the dog.
Yeah.
And that dog is like the best actor, human or animal, I've ever seen ever. You just stand there and just stare
So
off
funny.
as if nothing was
His
going
comedic
on.
timing is spot on, and you can't fake that. So.
When I took over the job as the American Independent Programmer here at the festival, I got a lot of comments on the indie world, saying at that time that the independent world is dead. There are no indies anymore. So we have now here 4 talents here sitting on stage. What would you say? Is the indie world dead? And the second question is, because you were talking about how difficult it is to get the films financed. Can you talk a little bit about how you financed your movies first, and if Kickstarter, if you had included in your financing process, if that helped you to get the financing closed?
We didn't use crowdfunding for this. We were fortunate to have, I think, a grant from the Austin Film Society early on in developing the project. But I don't think independent film is dead. No.
Good, thank you.
I think surely it's changed, I guess, with the accessibility of filming, but look at all of us making something very personal. I guess I just keep hearing the message over and over, write what you know, or film what you know, and to work on something so near and dear feels to me very important in the process. I'll be curious to see on my next project, perhaps, if it's not something so personal, how it will go.
People with BUZZARD, the budget was so low that we offered so we made 8 for $2,000, and then kind of proved that we could do it. So our friends and family was like, all right, well, we'll help you out with the next one. So we offered them percentage points of profit, for their money. So it just came from friends and family, and so I think when people talk about independent film is dead, I think that's because you see the Independent Spirit Awards, and it's Brad Pitt is there, and Birdman wins, and it's that's a huge movie. So I don't know, maybe there's all the shirts that say Punk's not dead. Maybe we should need to make shirts that say Indie's not dead. I don't know, because it's not. I mean, anybody who has a video camera is an independent filmmaker. So.
Yeah, I got a Jerome, a grant from the Jerome Fellowship from the Jerome Foundation in Minnesota, as well as a Minnesota State Arts Board grant. And then the rest of the money, I just rode my bike a lot and lived in my boyfriend's parents' basement for 2 years, and saved up by working on independent films and not making a lot of money. So as a poor person that works a lot on independent films, I would say that it's not dead. Just because I do work on a lot of things that are going on. But that's how I financed it. And there was a point where I thought that I wouldn't be able to make the movie on 16, and I tried to get out of it, and the Jerome Foundation told me that I couldn't because I had put it in my project proposal, so they forced me to shoot on film, which I'm very happy about now. But there was a minute where I was afraid. But during shooting, I was very happy to be shooting on film.
We actually did, we used Kickstarter.
Also for your short already, or?
No, for the short, that was just me. That's working and living at my mom's house with no rent, you save money. So that was, all my money went into that. And then I put more money into the future. We did a Kickstarter, family, or friends, and all the money was very close knit. And it was a low budget overall. And yeah, I don't know, indie film, yeah, that's silly to say it's dead. It's clearly, I don't know, you tell me, you're programming, so it's like, are you seeing good movies? And it's like, clearly.
But would you say that maybe also Kickstarter helped you out a little bit?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that was half our production budget right there. Yeah, we could not have made the film we did without that, so.
I think you're sitting 3 festival winners, also you with Abe at the Locarno Film Festival, Slandance and South by Southwest. Does that help you to get your further projects finance?
Yeah, I mean, for me that was huge. We got, so we premiered at South by Southwest and no one had a clue what our movie was. And we premiered on a Monday after most of the movies had played. And then Tuesday we won the Grand Jury Award and everyone was like, what's this movie? We don't know. And then people started seeing it and then we won the Audience Award later and we get like more and more screenings and we go from a premiere that's not even like a full turnout to like our final screening selling out a bigger theater and having to turn people down. It was a whirlwind of a week. And then after that, we, I hadn't even, we submitted the movie to Cannes after that. And I was like, I'm not gonna submit there, there's no shot. And then we get in, and then we get a deal with A24, who's like gonna put out my movie and finance my next movie. And it's just like a trickle of events that started with that, when it's out by. Without that, none of this would have happened.
Okay, but A24, it's a distribution company and it's now financing your next project?
Yeah, they're moving into development and they did like a 2-picture thing where they're gonna release my movie and finance and distribute my next movie.
Oh.
I won an award at Locarno for Ape, which was where I met the investor for Seven Chinese Brothers, and that didn't go through, but it did. Winning that award allowed me to quit my day job, so I was able to be just focus on movies after that, just because of the cash award. And so Oscilloscope Laboratories distributed BUZZARD in the United States, and they are, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying it, but we're in Germany, so whatever. Yes, they are now financing and kind of developing the feature that we just shot and is in post-production right now. So they are going to be releasing that, and they put up all the money for it. So it's good to find the right distributor that understands what you're doing and is totally supportive of it. So.
My film's also really hard to market, I think, so it's not really, I mean, compared to Seven Chinese Brothers. I haven't seen your movie, but also to BUZZARD, it's a...
We had a hard time getting a distributor.
Yeah, it's a hard audience to find and people.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of them don't have any balls. They just want like a safe, marketable thing.
Yeah.
We had like, after South by, I was like, oh, we won what's the last movie that did this? Short Term 12, that was a big hit. But no one, they were like, no, we don't know how to market this. And A24 was like one bigger distributor that never passed and like considered us the whole time.
But is it a little bit frustrating for you after winning South by and also being in Cannes that it was so hard for you to find a distributor?
Yeah, it was very frustrating and just like a wake-up call to distribution for indie films, you know. I don't know how you feel, but it was very frustrating.
Yeah, I keep having people that haven't seen the movie say that since I won Sundance and played at New Directors and played it elsewhere that I should, they're like, yeah, you should have people just giving you money to make something else, but it hasn't worked that way for me so far, but hopefully it will.
Your film is already out on Amazon, iTunes, I think. What is the response from the audience? Do you know anything about
Yeah,
that?
the only way to find out is you go in the comments section. Don't go to Amazon if you're an independent filmmaker. It's just gonna bum you out all day.
Worst film ever.
Oh my gosh, it's all. But so you go to Amazon and you can track the audience response because it like literally is 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. But then you go to, there's like a site called Letterboxd.com in the U.S. that is more kind of festival friendly, and that's like the I feel like the audience that I'm looking for, and so that it gives me at least a better gauge of make sure it's hitting the right crowd. And I think most people on there have seen it online, so we had a good theatrical run, but I mean 14 cities is nothing compared to every single city in the country online. So I think that's the way to go. I mean, to reach your audience. I don't know. Ape, which has been out for a while, we just finally made a profit online of $1.71. So it's reaching people, but I don't know if there's a lot of money involved in it, which is exactly the story of independent film. So you know, it is what it is. There's, because of technology is improving in cameras, everybody, you know, there's the amount of films being made is, you know, has increased by like 20 times in the last 5 years. So there's just more competition, and that's part of the thing. That's part of what made me be able to make a film too. So I don't fault any of that. There's that the market is kind of flooded now, is how it is, and I'm part of the flood. So it's just gonna get kind of different as it goes on. There's gonna be more to choose from, and harder to, unless you have your titles start with an A or a number. You're going to be harder to find. Which I was thinking about when I was looking at the catalog last night. I was like, oh, it's 7 Chinese Brothers right at the very beginning, not in the S's. Smart move. And we kind of brainstormed the idea of making a video game, BUZZARD the video game. And so that was where I'm not a fan. It's just like, I've done Kickstarter before, and since I've done it like twice, I just kind of feel too humiliated to ask for money again. But it was their thing. It's like, let's do a Kickstarter for the video game. And I was like, oh, and they you know, they were like, it's not simply asking for money, but it's getting the word out, and it's gonna you're gonna reach a different audience with a Kickstarter. So we did a Kickstarter for the video game, and I was telling you that I played the video game for the first time on a flight over here, and it's just like, it's crazy, it's awesome. I don't know if I have the like patience for it, because it's just like, I like, in a different way. Like, it's just too spastic and crazy for me. I can't figure out how to play it, but it's pretty amazing, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of people once it's officially for sale saying that they like it better than the movie. So they just wanted to reach a different audience, and yeah, that was part of the social media, just getting it out to like gaming nerds and like horror weirdos and stuff like that.
It's definitely important, and we're talking about it all the time, but it's not personally something that I excel at. I got off of Facebook a long time ago, and I don't know the first thing about it, but we've had a lot of focus on it. We hired someone ahead of the festival to help get the word, you know, you have just the right chunk of time that you want to start trying to reach out to people, and there are social media wizards who know how to reach these new audiences, and like dog lovers even, you know, we can do special posts geared towards French bulldog lovers, and then they'll maybe find out about us.
I just had an interview with somebody asking me about the number of films within our program made by women. And the percentage here in our lineup this year is, in general, out of the 200 films, it's 14%, but more interestingly is within the American Indie program, it's 30%. And more interesting is that today we have, it's 50-50%. So in Germany it's getting more and more a huge discussion. What about in the US?
In the groups of people that I hang out with in New York City, it's a huge discussion all the time, especially with a lot of young actresses. I think people are frustrated that they don't feel like they can do their own thing. But to me, I mean, I grew up in a family in Montana where I just sort of was expected to do everything that my family was doing, and my sister drives race cars, and I can do whatever. So I never really felt like it was hard for me at all, and I've never really felt a prejudice or that I was stepping outside of some crazy boundary by making something, which I think helps a lot in the end, that I never had to overcome some struggle mentally to say, like, nobody wants me to do this, I'm gonna do it. It was just sort of something that I did, but I know it's a struggle for a lot of people, and I don't know a lot of women that are making movies. I think people want to, but I think it's also hard for them to mentally say, like, I can do this, I'm just gonna make it happen.
Like Britni said, it's a really hot topic right now in the US for sure, and I feel fortunate to be not too encumbered by that problem. I guess if something is at work maybe holding me back as a female filmmaker, I'm not quite sure of it, but definitely aware of it, and it's good that you have a good ratio, I don't know, films overall.
A lot of the crews, I work on a lot of films as well, and a lot of the crews you can see it becoming more even. A lot of camera, there are a lot of, I think camera people had to, like, women in camera department had to fight for a really long time, and I think they finally found their places, like ACs, and I've worked with a lot of female ADs, female DPs as well, but I think there are a lot of, like, younger women coming up in that department, and that everyone is accepting of that. And there are a lot of, I worked on a movie that had an entirely female electric department recently, so I
We
think,
had a pretty female heavy crew in Austin, right? Would you
Yeah.
say? Yeah.
I think so.
That's one of the biggest comments I get is when the credits roll up for my movie, people say, wow, there's actually women involved in making this. I make very guy-centric movies, so yeah, we involve women too.
It's hard though. It's a very strange thing that my boyfriend also is a filmmaker, and he made a movie about all men, and it didn't have any women in it, and it was nothing against women, but it was about his relationship with his dad and his brother. And he got a lot of flack for that. Like, a lot of people were really upset. A lot of women were very upset that he had no women in the film. But it wasn't a film about women, so it's a weird thing now that if you don't make a movie about women, you're leaving people out. It's like
I'm curious because Trey's film features an older female lead. Is that, do you think, part of why distributors have been unsure?
I do. I think so. Well, yeah, because that was one of the things that excited me about it, because I don't think you really see older women in lead roles unless they're Meryl Streep or something. And, especially a character like that who's kind of going towards a downward spiral, I think distributors are like, how do we market this? This is a crazy old woman. But I don't know. To me, that's really important, and that's what I was going after with the movie.
Okay, I think we have to stop now, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
guys.
for coming.
Thank you.